Let's continue this discussion with Larry Elder, 2024 Republican presidential candidate. Larry, always good to see you. I want to start with this. You have come out before and said that you would pardon President Trump if you were elected in 2024. After combing through this 45 pages yesterday, I'm assuming you've read the indictment. Does that still remain true for you, sir?
I read the indictment several times, Markey, and I'm even more convinced. You mentioned earlier about the pressure that Vice President Mike Pence got from Donald Trump and from his legal team to argue that he had the power not to accept certain electors from certain states. It is true, the indictment has all this stuff about how much pressure Vice President Pence was under. It is also true, which was not included in the indictment, that just a few weeks ago in an interview with CNN, Mike Pence said, "We'll never see eye to eye on whether or not I have the legal authority to do what Trump wanted me to do, but I am, quote, not convinced what he wanted me to do was illegal," end of quote. I have no idea why that quote wasn't in there. And this is all about what's called the Electoral Count Act. And Donald Trump, through his lawyers, and one of whom was John Eastman, whom I've known for a long time, and interviewed him as recently as early this year about the arguments he made, argued that that law gave Pence powers that Pence did not believe he had. However, this is very important.
Sure, finish.
At the end of last year, one of the last things that Congress did was to, quote unquote, clarify the Electoral Count Act to make it clear that Vice President only had a ceremonial power. Now, if the argument was fallacious, was out of whole cloth, had no grounds, why then do you need to clarify the law under which Donald Trump made that argument?
And when you talk about Mike Pence, and in this indictment it says that multiple people and entities came forward telling President Trump that these claims were false. The vice president, senior leaders of the Justice Department, director of National Intelligence, Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. I mean, how do you still say that you would pardon him when so many people, including his own VP, came forward and said, not true?
His lawyers, John Eastman, who was a respected lawyer here in California, former dean of Chapman University School of Law, former law professor, argued differently, as did Rudy Giuliani, argued differently. Donald Trump is Donald Trump. He rejected the advice he didn't agree with and accepted the advice he did agree with. What's wrong with that? Lawyers are supposed to zealously represent their clients as advocates, as long as they can do so legitimately. And that's exactly what lawyers do. Lawyers often make unpopular arguments, for crying out loud. The lawyers who defended Dred Scott made an unpopular argument at the time that Dred Scott was a free man, was not chattel slavery. The lawyers that were on the other side of separate but equal made arguments that were not accepted until Brown versus Board of Education. The lawyers who argued that Roe v. Wade was wrong were on the wrong side of the law for the last 50 years until last year when the Supreme Court reversed it and did a 180. So lawyers make unpopular arguments, and I'm not saying the argument that Donald Trump's lawyers made, even I agreed with. The point is whether or not you can make these arguments in good faith, and if you make them and they're not accepted, are you a criminal?
Yeah, and also to point out, Jack Smith also said yesterday at that lectern, innocent until proven guilty. So we all have to keep that in mind, too. Let me ask you how this impacts you, because you're obviously one of his opponents, right? Let's be honest, though. In the wake of his other two indictments earlier this year, they boosted fundraising. He's risen in the polls. As one of his opponents, does this concern you that his campaign will now get another boost in the wake of this third indictment and possibly the fourth that'll come this month as well?
Two things, Markey. I'm not his opponent, and I'm always honest. Look, I'm running for president because I want to put together some issues that others are not talking about, namely the epidemic of fatherlessness, the lie that America is systemically racist, and the vital need for school choice in urban America. I also will sign an executive order not allowing VPs and presidents and their families to lobby for 5 years. I'm trying to get on that debate stage. I need 40,000 individual donations. They can be as small as $1. Go to my website, LarryElder.com.
How close are you to getting that, sir?
Even if you want somebody else on that as a nominee, getting these issues front and center, most notably, as I said, the epidemic of fatherlessness, I think will do a service to the country. That's why I am running.
How close are you to getting the numbers that you need to get to Milwaukee?
I'm past halfway there with another month to go. So it's going to be nip and tuck. So please, 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 $1, LarryElder.com.
Larry Elder, thank you so much for hopping on Morning in America. Good to see you. And thanks for your perspective. Appreciated.
You know where to find me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.